So recently I created a game called Captive You Are My Idol. And in it, you play as Aylen, who gets kidnapped, and you're sitting face to face with your kidnapper because he invites you up for dinner. But the main gameplay of it is being able to deceive your kidnapper or to secretly plot and observe your surroundings. But it was while testing the game for pretty much the 6.9 billionth time just before a release, 1 month before it released actually, that I kind of decided how cool would it have been if you were instead the viewer watching a live streamer. Well, it's kind of too late for that at that moment in time, but hey, time for a sequel.
And suddenly, Captive has a sequel.
Sup dogs, TheOdie here, and I enjoy making horror games, but I know your first thought, and that is, okay, you're watching a live streamer, how is that going to be fun? What are you going to do? Where's the horror in here? Well, it so happens that there are rumors spreading that this girl, Aylen, the live streamer, has been kidnapped. After having been kidnapped. She just escaped her kidnapping and now she's been kidnapped again. Probably the worst possible thing that could happen, and I am so sorry, Aylen. But she's been kidnapped again. So you're going to be playing as a detective to determine if she has been kidnapped again. And I figured who better of a detective than Detective Hearts. It is I, Detective Hearts. Fans of 2020 will remember a silly little game called Murder at the Love Throne 69 Motel that starred Detective Hearts. He is the one who solved the case of the Valentine killer. This Valentine killer goes into love motels where he kind of just hides and waits for the perfect opportunity to, you know, do the murder. Well, Detective Hearts had no choice at the time but to barge into these couples. They're totally just making out, by the way, because family friendly. So don't get the images confused in your heads. They're just making out. Detective Hearts had to barge into these couples making out in order to stop the serial killer. And that, you guys, is who Detective Hearts is. Or more so his accomplishment, but who he actually is, he's a kind of a quirky fella. He's a little bit awkward, he is a little bit perverted, but he's overall saving lives. Now, the next person you're going to have to know about is Aylen. As I described early in this video, she is a YouTuber slash streamer who gets kidnapped and brought up for dinner by her supposed biggest fan. But this is actually where she can make her best progress to deceive the kidnapper or make her observations for an escape. But you know, there's more to it than just that portion of the game, because things get pretty crazy where at one point in time you can be solving a puzzle cube while hiding from your kidnapper. And if that's the case that you've fallen into, then I am very sorry, because that is quite the difficult thing to achieve or to survive through. But if you did, then oh damn, you deserve a medal. So there's a big question here, and that is, will this new game that I'm creating, will it spoil Captive? And the answer is no, because in Captive, there are multiple true endings. You see, back when I used to do a lot of Let's Plays, I would always play these horror games that had multiple ends, and I would say that whichever end I got first is my true end. Well, in this case, whichever first true end you received is your canonical true end. There's just so many different paths that it can take, and this sequel just happens to be a continuation of one of those true ends. So, it does not entirely spoil Captive, but I guess you can say it does spoil one of those true ends. Of the two games, I would highly recommend playing Captive You Are My Idol, and at the very least checking out this video to understand Detective Hearts a little bit more. So going back to this game, which I have decided to call the DH Files, Idol Streamer. DH Files standing for Detective Hearts Files, and Idol Streamer being Aylen, and the main purpose of this game is to play as Detective Hearts, who is watching Aylen and deciding whether or not she has actually been kidnapped. And here's where all the confusion may come in place, because it's like, how can you decide on that? Well, according to the rumors, she's been acting a little bit strange on these streams. Her eyes kind of diverts off when she's talking to the camera, or perhaps she's saying things without confirming anything. Like, you can accuse her of being kidnapped, but anyone who's accusing her just gets auto-banned. And even though you're accusing her, she has never once at all outright said, no guys, I'm not being held captive right now. Instead, she kind of just talks around that topic. Is she trying to just push the past behind her, or is there really something else going on here? Well, Detective Hearts, our true hero, will have to make that determination. So, as for the main features of the game, we have choices that you can select. We have a nice little live stream to help you gather a couple of hints as to whether or not something seems suspicious. And of course, we do have our evidence meter. If you hit that evidence all the way to its maximum before the end of the just chatting live stream, then guess what? You'll come to determine whether or not she has been kidnapped yet again, or is it all just rumors? And I know, the number one thing that everyone's fearing is, well, I don't know these signs. How will I figure it out? Well, luckily, Detective Hearts, being the very, very smart and prepared guy, just so happens to have a nice little notebook by his desk that will tell you exactly how and what you need to do. Now, for old-time viewers or anyone who has played Murder at the Love Throne 69 Motel, then do I have some joyous news for you, because there's going to be a lot of Easter eggs and we're going to see a lot of old fun characters. First of all, we have our motel owner. Back at Murder at the Love Throne, we never really got to know his name. Well, in this game, allow me to introduce to you King. It is actually thanks to him that we learn a little bit about this case. And then of course we have good old Larry. Oh man, do any of you guys remember good old Larry? You know what's crazy? It's the fact that while creating this game, I just remembered his name. Out of all the characters of the Love Throne 69 Motel, I didn't even need to watch my old videos or go back into those old game files. I just knew. He's good old Larry. He likes magazines. And remember, this Love Motel is strictly making out family friendly. Family friendly. So as you can imagine, it's a very, very quirky game, and Detective Hearts is a very, very quirky fella. Just take a couple of scenes for example. My favorite and only viewing window. Valentine killer captured. Yes, the beautiful headline of my success. Some leftover evidence of the Valentine killer. I should clean these up, but not yet. I want to bask in my glorious success a little longer. Speaking of a night stay, say no more, Larry. The new month's issues are in. Woohoo! Enjoy your night, boys! I really hope that's not me in 10 years. Aylen starts to stream. I'm Detective Hearts. This is my first time watching. Can you just imagine, right at the bat, you just declare you are the detective investigating her case? Looks like we have a Detective Hearts in the chat. Welcome to the stream. Are you here to help me investigate the mystery of the cabin? No, I'm here to investigate your case. Oh man, I had so much fun when just scripting this whole thing. I forgot how silly I made this dude, and it was just it was an absolute blast. Just totally awesome. And guys, for those of you who remember this game fairly well, there are even these two characters who are special to Detective Hearts' heart, who will reappear. Alright, I think I teased enough about this silly little game. Speaking of which, it's meant to be rather short, about 30 minutes long, and depending on how well you do at Aylen's live stream and your abilities to detect her, that sounds so wrong, then it can be a little bit longer. But this is just a free little game for you to enjoy during this Thanksgiving holiday break. But also for any developers who are out there who are interested to acquiring the game files, to go through its base code and learn how I create things. Even my OneNotes, where I completely put all of my thoughts into the script and how I design the game, will also be available. This perk, however, is only available for those who donate on the itch.io game page, but the game is free for anyone to play. Just a big note is to please read the game page before you do make a donation if you are interested in those game files, because there are a number of them that I acquired by purchasing myself, and to ensure that these developers do get their proper support for their plugins, I will be removing them from this game file, and you would have to acquire them yourselves in the appropriate means and put them into the plugin manager yourselves, or more so just a plugin folder. As for anything that I created under TheOdie, such as the graphics, and then I think there's only one BGM that's in there, those are free for you to use however you like, just as long as you do credit me. Alright, with that said, I hope you guys do enjoy this silly little DH Files game. Do drop a comment down below, and you do happen to play it, then please drop a comment on the game page. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and if you're interested in seeing the devlogs for this, that will be coming out very shortly, and if it's already available, then you can see it down in the descriptions, and even in the comments. Alright, till the next one. Later!